Welcome, everybody, to Wednesday Night Yin. Let me get some lights on here so I can see. We're going to use the bolster tonight. Now, if you don't have a bolster at home, it's not a big deal. Right now, you can just lay flat on your back. If you do have a bolster, or if you want to put a blanket or a block underneath your knees, you just lay with whatever underneath your knees. Lay back like this. Let your legs just open up a little bit. It's a nice, comfortable place to start. So take your first few moments right there. So to bring your focus to your breath. We're doing yin tonight, so you don't have to control your breath as much, right? But just notice it. Observe it. Let it take over. Let it push all the other distractions to the background. So you can arrive, you can be just fully focused on your mat, your practice. You can be fully present to your mat, your practice. We're going to do tonight a little more traditional yin, right? Longer holds, less movement. But the whole sequence is designed to nourish your ki. I don't know what that means, right? Ki is like our energy supply in our body. Right? If your energy is stagnant, right? You feel stressed, you feel irritable, and your body gets all tense and achy. And so what we're going to do here is try to just kind of nourish that, bring more bodily energy to you. And hopefully this practice will help you relax so that energy circulates more freely. When your ki, your energy is deficient, you have a tendency to be kind of low energy, you don't really want to do anything, your voice gets weak, you catch cold easily, you have poor digestion. None of those things we want to have happen to us, right? So this sequence can rebuild it, can nourish it. one side or the other. And just push yourself up. Right? Now, we're going to come to an easy sit position here. It doesn't matter which leg is in front. Actually, more comfortable one in front. And you're going to bring the bolster right in front of you. Now, if you're at home and you don't have a bolster, right, maybe you take a blanket or a couple blocks or a book or something in front of you. You don't have anything, then you can just come to a fold here. Or, well, I'll show you all the options, right? First, I'll show you what to do with the bolster, right? What we're going to do here, you're just going to come forward. You're going to lean forward. You're going to bring your elbows to the bolster, right? And just prop your head up in your hands, kind of like the watching TV pose. The further forward you move your elbows, the more you're going to feel it. Bring it all the way back in, it's fine. And again, if you're at home, you don't have a bolster, you just put a blanket in front of you. Maybe you're somebody who can get your elbows all the way down to the mat, and you're just here. Right? If your elbows don't come to the mat, then you're just here. Okay. Get a block or something, use the block. And which version works for you? You should feel this in your hips, in your low back. Starting to open. Like I said before, when you're doing Yin, you're not trying to control your breath, but you are trying to keep your complete focus on it. Right? You want to keep noticing your breath just as you're hanging out here. If there's anywhere you're feeling a lot of sensation, so in the beginning it's probably in your back and your hips. And as you inhale, send the breath there. As you exhale, tell that spot to release. Maybe after a while you start to feel it in your elbows, or in your wrists, or in your neck. Again, just send the breath there. Send the breath wherever you need it. Take 2 more breaths here. And then let yourself come all the way up. Now, from here, all right, you're going to take your blanket. If you don't have a blanket, it's okay. Your head can just be on the ground, right, or on your mat. But you're going to lay on your belly. And your forehead right now is going to be on the blanket, right? So I'm here. Now, take your right hand, reach it out long, just outside the blanket, so you're here, right? And then you're going to take your right hand, you're going to take your left hand right by your chest, take your right hand, reach it out to the right. Now, you're going to push yourself over on to your right hip. Right, so it's kind of like that shoulder T-stretch we do, but it's a little bit different. I'm pushing myself over onto my right hip. Now, you're going to bend into your bottom knee. So that's your right knee, right? Put that bend in the right knee. And then just keep the left foot on the floor, right inside the sole of the left foot. Right, so it's almost like you're doing a little butterfly position here with your legs. You see me on camera? Hopefully you really can't. Right, let me see if I can do this a different way. Right, if I'm here, try to do it so you can see what I look like on camera. All right, so my right arm's out here. Then I push myself over to my right side. You're still not going to be able to see me. That's all right. Here. Then I put the left foot here. So just right here. My right arm's reaching underneath me. You start to feel that stretch in your right shoulder. A little bit in your chest. Right? If you need to, you can let that left knee fall all the way down. So you're just right here. Right? If you can, keep it up. Right? Maybe you extend it along behind you while you keep that right knee bent. So you can play with it a little bit, right? You can stay right here, stay right here. If that's not going to work, you don't need to stay. But you want to feel that sensation here in the right shoulder. Right, so you stay right there once you've found your comfortable place. You set that left foot on the floor and you open up. It'll increase the sensation in your right arm, right? Again, if it's too much, you leave that leg down. We're taking a minute here, and then we'll switch sides. Push into that left palm and push yourself back over your right shoulder, the more sensation you're going to feel in that right shoulder. Take 3 more breaths. Now from here, you're just going to extend both legs long. Keep your left hand on the floor, right? And then let yourself roll back over onto your belly. And then we're just going to do that going the other way. So your forehead's on the mat. I'm just going to flip around here so you can see me going in the other direction. You're going to take that left arm out long to the side here this time. Right, bring your right hand right by your chest. And then from there, left arm out long. So I'm just going to push myself over onto my left hip. Now you're going to bend into your bottom knee. That's your left knee this time. And then take your right foot. See if you can put that right foot on the ground, right inside the sole of your left foot. You can't quite see my feet here, but they look like this, right? So I'm here. Now the further back I push that right knee, the more sensation I feel, right? I'm pressing that right palm into the floor, kind of pushing the floor away from me. Gets more in the left shoulder. If you need to, you can let that left leg relax down, or you can kick that left leg all the way straight. Or sorry, that's your right leg. You can let your right leg come all the way down on top of your left, or you can kick it all the way straight. Just right here for the next couple minutes. Come on, my watch is on the other hand now. See how much time we got here. right, take 3 more breaths here. And then let your knees come down, extend your legs long. Let yourself roll back onto your belly. Right, and then we're gonna push ourselves up into tabletop. This time, from your tabletop, right, take your blanket and just bring it in front of you, right? What we're gonna do, you're gonna drop down to your forearms. Right, so my forearms are on the blanket, right? So your hips are up high. And then from there, you start to sway your hips from side to side. So bump to the right, bring it back to the center, bump to the left, and just go back and forth here a couple times. We're getting into the hips a little bit. And then from there, we're going to start to make some circles. So you're going to bump your hips all the way over to the right. And then let your shoulders go back behind your elbows, right? Drop your hips towards the right heel. Then scrape your hips along your heels so they're over just outside the left heel, right? And then bring them all the way back up. So you're just making a big circle with your hips from this forearm tabletop. Do 3 or 4 more like that. And then come to a stop here with your hips up at the top. Now we're going to go the opposite way. So you're going to bump your hips over to the left. Let them come down towards your left heel. And then scrape them across your heels over to the right and bring them back up and just make your hip circles here. And eventually, I'm going to come to a stop here. Now, we're going to come into regular tabletop. Here we're going to use our blanket. We're going to use the bolster. You can take the blanket, put it underneath your knees, right? But what you want to do, see I've taken my blanket long because I want my knees to be wide, so wider than my hips, right? So your knees are nice and wide. Have your bolster. The bolster's going to come right in front of you. Now you're going to drop your hips back over your heels as much as you can. Pull that bolster all the way in. Maybe it has to come up and over the blanket, right? That's what I just did with mine. It's all the way in. Now you're going to let your head come down to the bolster. And then your hands can either reach forward along the bolster, or maybe you want to take your hands, sweep them back so that you're reaching towards your heels. So it's a wide little child's pose. You're using the bolster to prop yourself up now. If you don't have a bolster, right? Maybe you're just doing it like normal here or here. Maybe use a block or a blanket to prop under your head. Right? All things, all good options. The key here is to get those knees nice and wide. Push the hips back. Breathe a few more breaths here. And when you're ready, just slowly make your way up. Nice. Sit up. Yeah. We're going to come back to that hands and knees pose here. You're going to keep the blanket underneath your left knee, right? And we're going to move our right foot out. So, I'm probably not getting you guys into this the right way, but here's what I like to do. Take your right foot, step it all the way out to the right, and then take your right hand, wrap it around behind your back. Step your right foot next to your left hand, right? And then drop your right hand outside your right foot. Now what you want to do here is make sure that your left knee is back behind your left hip. I didn't end up there, so I need to move my left knee way back. Now we're coming to dragon, right? So I'm moving my blanket back so that I can really open up, right? The wider space there is between your knees, the more you're going to feel this. That makes sense? Right, so the further back you can move that left knee while still keeping your right knee right over your right ankle, the more you're going to feel this. Now dragon is a true yin pose, right? I do it all the time. I throw it in the middle of the flow. I think I did it in my class yesterday, right? But it can be really challenging when we do it in yin. So you can take your bolster to the inside of your right foot, right? Maybe your hands go on the bolster. Maybe you can drop down to your forearms on the bolster, right? You're squeezing that right knee in towards your right shoulder. Now, if you don't have a bolster, right? Maybe you're using a block. Your hands can go on the block. Here, right? You can have your elbows on the block, right? Or you're just on the floor. Maybe you're just on your palms. It's okay. It's a perfectly good version of dragon. Maybe you can get down to your forearms on the floor. Maybe on a good day, I can. Right? So just spend a couple breaths here, squeezing that right knee in towards your right shoulder, whichever version you're in of the dragon. You should feel this in both hip flexors. That's why it's so good for us. You're feeling it in that left hip flexor as you extend that left knee long. You're feeling it in your right hip flexor as you push that left knee forward. I'm not going to make you hold this quite as long because it can be challenging. But once you spent a few breaths squeezing that right knee into the right shoulder, now think about just letting that right knee come open a little bit. Maybe come off the knife edge of your right foot. And you look like this. Changes the stretch a little bit. You want to hang out there for a few breaths. If you're like, that part is not for me, put your foot back on the floor and just keep squeezing into your shoulder. Your choice. From here, everybody's going to come up back up on their palms if they're not already, right? You keep that bolster there. Kind of take the bolster if you're using it and push it back behind your right heel so you look like this, right? Keep your left knee where it is on the blanket, and then you're going to let your right leg straighten all the way, right? And start to push your left hip back, right? Now, I'm trying to get it so that my right leg is supported by the bolster, right? So I could be here. It'll work for everybody, right? You can be more of a half butterfly with your foot up on the bolster. Half butterfly, half pyramid, right? My foot's on the bolster. It's literally come off the ground. And I'm just pushing my hip back. Or be here, where I extend that right leg all the way and let my thigh come down. My left knee's still on the ground. You can't see it. I'll do it sideways. You're okay. You guys all are doing fine. So here's my left knee, still on the bolster, taking my right foot forward, just trying to show you. So you see what, and then I'm going to slide my right leg all the way forward. I can let my hamstring rest in the bolster. That's not going to work for everybody, right?
So good, Mom. No, I got it. Okay,
Right? Maybe you push your hips back and you just bring your foot up on top of the bolster, right? So it's like you're doing that basic half pyramid. You're just raising that foot a little higher. Or you can slide forward and let your calf be on the bolster. Are you feeling it in your right hamstring?
Yep.
Then you're doing the right thing.
Every better.
Just take 3 more breaths here. Okay, I'm going to make you guys feel really small. I don't think that this is the one that get you guys all rowdy tonight. All right, now come back when you're ready. Right, just start to bend back into that right knee. So come back around. Right, move that bolster maybe all the way out of the way. You can bring your hands down, coming back around into tabletop. Right? Now we're going to do that on the left side. Now you know it's coming. All right, so take that. I'm going to turn around here. Take your left foot, step it all the way out to the left. Wrap your left hand around your back. Good. So then you can step your left foot next to your right hand. Now you got to get in that place, right? The further back you move that right knee, the better. So moving my blanket back. It's like putting my right knee on the ground. And then from there, you can be here, right? I've just got my palms, squeeze that left knee in. Maybe I come down my forearms, squeeze that left knee in. Maybe if you're using your bolster, right? The bolster right inside your left foot. Drop your palms on the bolster, your elbows on the bolster. Spend a minute or so here just squeezing that left knee in toward your left shoulder. You guys stay right there. Maybe wherever you are, now you think about letting that left knee come out to the left. So I just came up off the knife edge of my left foot. Right? Be here, have your hands on the bolster or on the block, just let that knee open. If it doesn't feel great to you to do that, then just put that foot back on the floor and keep squeezing the knee in towards your shoulders. From here, everybody's going to come back up to their palms. So you're putting the bolster maybe underneath, right up against your left heel. Let's put it that way, right? Then you're coming back maybe just into that half pyramid where you push your right hip back towards your right heel. And you let that left foot lift up. See how my left foot lifts off and my heel's kind of on the bolster? Maybe that's where you want to be with it, right? It's just a half pyramid. Maybe you can take it all the way and really bring that left foot forward and let your left hamstring land on the bolster. I'm not as good on this side, so I can't do it as well on this side. Right? If I put a block and the bolster underneath my left thigh, it's like, oh yeah, no, this feels good. Right? You can just be here. If you don't have a bolster or a block or anything to prop your foot up on, you're just in a regular half pyramid, and it's here. One more breath here. And from here, we're going to come all the way back up. And then, right, move that bolster out of the way. And just let yourself come back in the tabletop. All right, now from tabletop, have your bolster handy. Let your hips fall over to the right. And then you're going to bring that that right foot parallels the front of the mat. You're bringing the sole of your right foot against your left knee. So like this, right? It's a little shin box position. Now, we're going to come into deer. You can use your bolster for this. Just bring that bolster right in front of your right shin, right? So in between your right ankle and your right knee. And then you just walk out over, right? You get down that low. Maybe your block has to help. If you don't have a bolster or a block, but then your hands come and you're just walking as far forward as you can. Maybe drop it down to your elbows. Now, if you know full pigeon and you'd rather turn this into a full pigeon, right, that's an option. In full pigeon, everything is the same. You just take that left leg and extend it long behind you, let your right hip lift up off the mat, and you drop your left hip towards your right heel and come down. Right, so if that's what you want pigeon, go to pigeon. But you're fine, it's yin. You can be in deer, it's all good. Just bring it as far forward as you can, right in front of that right shin. You should feel this in your right hip. From here, walk yourself back up to your palms if you're not already. And now we're going to twist here, right? So you're going to bring your hands outside your right thigh. Now you can use your bolster, right? If you're using it before, keep using it. Now you're just bringing it directly outside that right thigh, right? You're going to turn your torso towards the bolster. So even if you should be in deer position here, right? Your left hip's lifting. And then you just drape that torso over the bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you're just taking your hands down, walking yourself as far forward as you can. A little easier to get further down in the twisted deer than a regular deer, because it's not about the hips so much anymore. It's about the twist in your spine. So maybe you can use the bolster, you can use a blanket, you can use a block, or you can just put your hands on the floor and walk yourself forward. let yourself come back up here. Right? Now, before we switch legs, we're going to do one other thing. You don't need a bolster or a block or anything else, right? Taking your right hand, either bring it right next to your right knee or maybe in front of your right knee. What you're going to do is take your left hand and grab a hold of your left ankle, right? And then what you want to do is just slide that left knee back as far as you can. Use your right hand to push into the mat, push your chest up as much as you can. Now you can't see me, right, just the way I'm angled. But I've lifted my left foot off the ground here, right? My right hand's by my right knee. Right, so I slide that right knee open, pushing myself up, or sorry, the left knee open. Right, so you should feel it along your left thigh, right? It's a little stretch for the left quad, and again, the left hip flexors. Release those hip flexors, make them less tight. That's when we can really increase and nourish the ki in our body. Just take 2 more breaths here. And then let that left ankle release. Come back just into your regular deer. And then we're going to bring it around. We're going to do the other side. Now, you can keep your hands on the ground here, but lean to the right with your hands over to the right so that you can kick that left leg in front of you. Put your left foot on the ground, right? Then push yourself up. Unwind that right leg. Take your left shin parallel to the front of your mat, and then lean way over to the left so that you can take that right knee, put the sole of the foot against your left inner thighs. Now you're in deer on the other side. Now, again, we're going to first come to just a regular deer. You bring that bolster in front of your left shin, pull it in, and then just let yourself walk out over it. If your head doesn't get all the way down, maybe use a block or a blanket to stack it up. Maybe you just don't use anything and just keep your hands in front of you and walk it forward. Right, whatever feels good. If you want to turn it into a full pigeon, you can do that. Extend that right leg behind you. Let your left hip lift off the mat as you push your right hip towards your left heel, right? That's pigeon. You have to be a pigeon unless you love it. Come back up to your palms here, right? And now we're going to take the twist. You're coming all the way up. Keep your legs right where they are. Just move your hands outside your left thigh. So again, you can use your bolster here. Right? Just bring it outside your thigh, in between your knee, left hip. You're going to turn your torso that direction, and then just let yourself fold over the bolster. So again, you should be able to get down a little deeper here in these twists than you do when we're going straight ahead, right? It's not about the hips, it's about the spine. If you want to, you can move that right knee a little further away from your left foot. You can move that right heel further away from your right glute, right? You can kind of adjust with that right leg to find place where you're able to get as deeply as possible into the twist. When you're ready, come up here, back up to your palms. Walk it back to the center. And again, you don't need your bolster, you don't need anything else here. Just take your left hand, put it either in front of your left knee or just behind your left knee. Right? And then you're gonna grab onto your right ankle with your right hand, right? See, I pick that right foot up a little bit so I can slide my right knee back as far as possible. And then you're pushing into the mat with that left hand. So you can really open up. The further back you push that right knee, the more you pull the right heel to your right glute, the more sensation you're gonna feel. You're gonna feel a stretch in the right quad, in the right hip flexor. That's what we're going for. Again, we're not staying here a long time, just about 3 or 4 more breaths. And then gently release that right foot, drag that right knee back in, right? And you're gonna keep leaning way over to the left so you can pick that right foot up and just place it on the mat, and then roll over to the right a little bit so you can unthread that left leg, and you just wanna set that left foot down here. All right, we're just gonna do one more pose before we take our Shavasana. If you have your blanket, you're gonna use it, right? Make it as thick or as thin as you want it. Right, I'm gonna put mine just like this on regular non-stay fold. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna sit up on it, right? So I'm taking my glutes up on the blanket, just to the edge of the blanket, so that your glutes are kind of falling forward, right? It's like they're going forward. Just propping you up slightly in the back. I should do this sideways so you guys can see better what I'm doing. So I'm here with the blanket. I'm just sitting on the very edge of it, my glutes fall forward. So it's like this, right? Now, you're going to take your bolster, put it on top of your legs, right? So you're like this, and then your hands are just on top of the bolster. You're just going to slide as far forward as you can. You don't have to get your head to the bolster. Don't think of that as the goal. Just let your elbows rest. Maybe tuck your chin a little bit. Want yourself around just slightly as long as your elbows are pressing into that bolster. Should feel good. Opening up the hamstrings a little bit more. Stretching out that back. If you don't have a bolster, right? Or you don't have a blanket, you're sitting here and you're doing your regular forward fold, whatever that looks like for you. Slowly peel back up here. And now it's time to transition into our Shavasana. So you can take your Shavasana however you would like. If you want to put the bolster underneath your knees again, and lay back with the blanket under your head, you can do that. If you want to lay back over the bolster, that's nice. Small back and lie down. Right? Maybe you don't want to use the bolster at all. You just want to lie on your back. That's fine. Now, if you're here in the studio, okay, I have a spray to offer you. Now, I can put this on your towel. I can't hand you a towel. If you don't have one, go get one. But if you do have one, you can hold it up. I'll just give it a little spritz for you, and that way you can use it. I'm not having to touch anything. It's a little bit nicer.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
This is sea salt, by the way, if you want. There. Yeah. Spray your face. There's a little rosemary, mint, a little citrus in there. Right? If you're at home, you didn't get any spray, sorry. But you know, you can buy this at Sprouts for $7. Zuma's sea salt is the best. Spray your own towel at home. And it's lovely. Wherever you are, let your eyes close. Let your focus come back to your breath. Allow your breath to begin to guide you. Let it take you right to that place where there's nothing left in your mind but you and your breath. That's our goal. That's our true quiet of the mind. Slowly start to come back into the room. Look at your fingers, your toes. Feel that increased sensation that comes with a quiet mind. If you want to here, you can take your arms overhead. Do a nice full, deep body stretch. And then from there, just roll over onto your right side in a fetal position. Take a couple breaths right there just to reacclimate to our space, the sights, the sounds that will come back to you. Take as long as you need right there, but then when you're ready, only when you're ready, push yourself up to seated. And we'll close here. So we're going to close with just our 2 Mari breaths and then an Om. The Mari breath, we inhale as we exhale, make that little humming sound in the back of the throat. And the Om is the universal syllable, uses all parts of the throat. You can join me in the breaths or you can just listen. But let's close our eyes here. We'll inhale together. Inhaling again. And then we'll inhale one final time and Om. Let your eyes drift open. Bring your hands to heart center. Thank you, all of you, for sharing your energy, your practice with me. I almost said this morning. It's not this morning, it's this evening. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste. All right. I will see you guys all on Saturday for some slow flow. Kelly will be here tomorrow morning for some dance. So join her for that, and I'll see you Saturday. Have a great rest of your week.